Hi, Cubby parents. My name is Jensen Sandlin. This is my second year being a Cubby co-coordinator. But this year I am pregnant and my baby is due in mid-December sometime. So I'm hoping to be able to work right up until like the Christmas break and then take at least a couple months off, maybe more. But I want to be able to jump back in for the end of the year plans. But at any time, you can always feel free to ask questions to the other co-coordinator, Angelica Stevens, who you're going to meet right now.
Hi Cubbie parents, my name is Angelica and this is my first year as a co-coordinator. However, I've been a Cubbie leader for 5 years, so if you've got questions, I probably have answers. And this year, you probably have a lot of questions. Now, the stuff that I'm going to be going over is probably more geared towards the Cubbie parents who are doing the more traditional Awana with a leader for their kids. If you're doing Awana, Creekside's Awana Home Edition, where you're going to be like your child's leader and work through the books on your own time, then you can skip to around 5-minute mark of this video where Jensen explains what a Cubbie bear hug is and how to finish off a section. If you're doing the more traditional stuff, I've got some information for you. So let's jump right in. So here's a quick overview of what the year should look like on a weekly basis. We'll dive into all of the details in a little bit. Every week, sometime before your child's leader calls them, we're asking that you work with your kid on the bear hug lesson. Jensen's going to go into deeper detail of what the bear hug lesson is. Just know that it's a weekly thing. 2, there's going to be an activity sheet and a craft each week that corresponds with the bear hug, either the Bible story or the Cubbie story that matches along with the verse. It will be available for you. And then we're going to also have a puppet show with Cubbie and a Bible story that's going to be posted online every week for you that will be available to watch. And then finally, your kid's leader is going to call them once a week to connect and hear them recite their verse. We're all hoping for in-person meetings at some point this Awana year. But per state regulations, it will not be possible until at the earliest after Christmas break, though they could extend it further into 2021. If in-person meetings are not possible, we will continue with the phone call format. We can be hopeful for in-person meetings to start taking place, but we have to be prepared that they just won't. The only exception to this would be our planned quarterly award pickups. It'll be the same day for all clubs, so you don't have to make multiple trips if you have kiddos in other clubs. And because this online Awana format is still new, we aren't exactly sure what it'll look like, but we will email you all the details about it when we get closer. However, it ends up looking like the Cubbie awards that you'll be picking up during this time are the red and green apple patches. These patches should be placed on the child's blue vest. On the lower right, there's an A, and on the lower left, there is a C. Now, if your child was in Cubbies last year and finished their book, they should have filled out the letter A. This year, we're working on filling the letter C. If for some reason the C is full from last year, it's not a big deal. Just put the patches on the A. The important thing is that the kid learns their verse. Each year in Cubbies, we alternate between 2 books. Last year was Appleseed, and this year is the Honeycomb book. Because Cubbies is a 2-year program, if your child participates both years, they'll finish both books and get a full vest of patches. We also have a schedule for the bear hugs and when they should be completed. That should be up and available to you where you're getting your parent resources. It's just like one section a week, and the colors on the schedule don't mean anything more than the patch the child is working towards. It should be about roughly 4 bear hugs per patch. You may notice on this sheet that the first 2 weeks we're working on Bear Hug A and Bear Hug B. These 2 are not included in this year's Honeycomb book, but are in the Apple Acres booklet. It's an easy introduction for you and your child to the Cubbies program. Both Bear Hug A and B have to be completed before you can move on to the Honeycomb book, but they're going to receive a patch for finishing it too. And now I'm going to pass you off to Jensen, and she's going to explain to you what exactly a bear hug is and how to pass the section.
Hey guys, it's Jensen again. We're going to go over exactly what a bear hug lesson is now. If you have been a part of Cubbies before, totally feel free to skip the next couple of minutes. So this is a page straight from the Honeycomb book. It starts with a story that you can read to your child. There's also a CD that comes with your book, and this is the track number for this story. So you can have them listen to the CD instead. And this is the second page of the story. Next is an interactive conversation that you would have with your child. It's a good idea to read through this first so that you understand the questions that you're asking before you start asking them. Next is the memorized portion. Right here is the verse reference. It's a good idea to always say the verse reference when you're teaching it to your child, but they do not need to memorize it. If it's your child's second year in Cubbies, you can start trying to have them memorize it, but it is not required. And this page, the verse is, all have sinned. When your child is saying their verse to their leader, they can have up to 2 helps when saying their verse. A help is just a hint if they get stuck somewhere. So say your child has already said, all have, and they get stuck. You can say the word sinned, and that would count as 1 help. Next we have under the apple tree. This is an activity that you can do with your child. It's optional, but we recommend doing it to get the most out of your book, and it helps your child just understand what their verse means better and how it applies in real life. So if they complete this activity, you can sign here on the parent or guardian signature line, and you can give them the yellow apple sticker. Once you feel like your child has memorized their verse well enough to say to the leader, you're going to sign here on the parent or guardian signature line and date it. On a usual Awana night, your leader would also be signing it when they have completed their verse, but since we're not doing in-person meetings, at least at first, this won't be possible, but they're going to have their own records to keep track of the verses. And lastly, here at the bottom is the review. So if your child can say this verse, it's just a verse that we've said on the previous week, then they get this Cubbie Bear sticker here. And then once your child has said their verse to the leader, you give them the matching sticker up in the top left corner. It's either going to be red apple or green apple, depending on what patch we're working on. And as you can see, they have 3 opportunities every week to earn a sticker. So these stickers, along with the craft supplies that we usually do, these are supplies that we usually hand out on Wednesday nights, but we would still like to supply these things to you guys. So right now, our plan is to put everything that you would need in for the quarter, and you can come to the church and pick it up. And then for the next quarters, when you come to pick up your child's awards, you'll be able to pick up the child's awards from the previous quarter and to pick up the supplies for the next quarter at the same time, just saving you a trip to the church. Your child's relationship with their leader is really important, especially if we do end up having in-person meetings at some point in the year. Then they're going to be with the same leader that's been calling them every week. So it's very important to make sure your child's available during this window of time that your leader is going to be calling them every week. It's also important to try to minimize distractions around them. Many of the leaders may want to call during the normal Awana time, which is Wednesdays around 7 o'clock, but we're giving them the flexibility of calling at a different time or day, but let your leader know what works for you guys. Another thing we're letting the leaders decide is if they want to call over the phone or with Zoom. Now, if Zoom is something that you don't want to do or can't do, just let your leader know, and they'll just gonna go call you over the phone. One thing that's very important the church is requiring is that there's 2 adults present on the phone at all times. This means one of the adults is the leader and the other adult is a parent or guardian. And this is going to be for all Awana clubs, and it's just for your child's safety. So if you're talking on the phone, the easiest way to do that is just turn on speakerphone and stay in the room with your child. If you're talking on Zoom, just make sure there's no headphones plugged in. And again, stay in the room with your child. These calls should be lasting about 5 and not more than 10 minutes. You know, these are preschool children, so we're not expecting them to pay attention more than 5 minutes. If your child misses a call with their leader, you can see if that leader can call back on a later day or time, but that might not be possible, but then, depending on their schedule. If it's not possible, then your child can just make up that the following week. And we just want to thank you for your time and patience for this year. You know, this is a new challenge for us. You know, Awana's been at this church for over 20 years now, and this is our first year of attempting something like this for Cubbies. And we want to be able to work together with you guys as much as possible. So please feel free to email either me or Angelica Stevens. And if you have more big picture questions, email Shelby Arriaga. She's the admin assistant and a great help. Yeah, we just want to wish you guys good luck for this year, and we're going to be praying for each of you guys. Thank you. Bye.